Hey, Dalton, I didn't know that Expelliarmus. I didn't know that it was a real thing. I certainly wasn't prepared for it to work with a toilet wand. I'm sorry. Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we're here with this week's edition of Harry Potter Sucks.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, chapters 13 through 15 of the Adrian Reads Harry Potter series. I say that when I answer the phone now because it's just so ingrained.
Thank you for calling Dalton Gentry.
Thank you for calling Movie Phone. So, 13 through 15, brief rundown. Chapter 13, The Very Secret Diary. We have the finding of the diary in the restroom by Harry and Ron. Was thrown through Myrtle.
Yes.
We get to see a little bit more of Myrtle. We find out a little bit about Tom Riddle, who is the owner of said diary. And we get a flashback scene where we realize that Hagrid was the one at fault when the Chamber of Secrets was opened.
Right.
So we are led to believe at that time.
What do you mean?
So we are led to believe at that time they blamed Hagrid for the deaths.
Okay, carry on.
Then we have next chapter, Cornelius Fudge. The diary is stolen out of Harry's possession. Hermione gets petrified, and we get the hint after we find out that Hagrid is going to Azkaban because this is coming back from his past to follow the spiders.
Yes.
A lovely piece. And then finally the chapter Aragog. Ron's car returns. We get to meet the spider Aragog, and we find out it is not the beast. It is afraid of the beast that lies within the chamber. And we find out that the original victim from the opening of the Chamber of the Secrets was Myrtle. Poor moaning Myrtle.
Yes.
You look confused.
Let's get into things.
Lay it on me.
231, we get mentioned the book you can never stop reading. Is this On the Road?
Oh, God, no.
Is this an On the Road mention?
No, we're done with On the Road. We're not going to ever mention it again. That was over. That's a past part of my life.
Okay, here's something interesting. On page 232, there's the whole scene with 50 points if you can get it through Myrtle's nose. This is something we'll see again later on the channel in Carrie.
Okay.
There's blood in the water, and the people are circling, right? What is it with this instinct that people have that seems to find its way into literature almost by second nature, that we know everyone's a bully in the right atmosphere?
I think that's inherent of youth. That's that
it's
stereotypical.
People in general.
It is that people in general, but when it's played out here, and as we'll see later in Carrie, that seems to be that stereotypical push of the high school bully. But yes, when there is a victim at fault, the sharks will circle.
Yeah, and it's not even just bullying. I mean, Ron gives us the quote, maybe he murdered Myrtle. That would have done everyone a favor.
That's rough.
Murdered.
That's rough.
I mean, that's a big thing.
So,
Devin over at Indian Insomniac, in his response to our last video, which was great, by the way.
Delightful.
Mentioned that Harry Potter incorporates all of the genre tropes. They're all crammed into this one. And yes, even invisible ink. Can you think of a single trope through any genre which is not in this? Is time travel in here?
Yes, it is.
is we've gotten all of the voyeurism, we've gotten all the things about being someone else. Is there any trope that you can think of that is not in this?
Honestly, now that you've brought it up, and I've sit and thought about it a little bit, and Devin has brought it up,
it's all in this. Every genre.
Maybe that's what makes this the big one, the granddaddy, because it's all there. This is the reader's introduction. This is the reader's encyclopedia to what you're going to get used to in literature. Volumes 1 through 7.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yes.
It's everything you've got. Even the Bible.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. There's a lot going on here, especially for young readers. This is an introduction to everything. And an introduction to a lot of heavy thought.
It is an introduction, but does it do any of it well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does. You're not the one who has to weed through the comments here, Adrian. Be nice. Anyway, what else are you thinking about this? Tell me some more.
236, we get the celebration of basically, is it Valentine's Day? What is it?
Valentine's Day, yes.
I find it incredibly sexist that the woman author makes Snape and Flitwick masters of love potions and entrancing enchantments, respectively, which are obviously nothing more than rape tools. Hashtag yes all men, okay?
Ooh!
Well, think about it. Think about it. What are those two things except for rape tools?
Point?
Oh, no, make an argument. Make an argument on the counter.
It is a delightful,
love potion.
well thought out trope of literature used in a young adult setting.
Okay, so a love potion's not about rape.
Did you see me chase my ass in that circle?
Yeah.
So we're gonna play that. This is sexist.
Sure. Yeah, and
Towards
I think
men.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which apparently isn't a thing. So let's hash that out a little bit more. How do you feel?
Feel about what?
The fact that you are claiming that J.K. Rowling is being very sexist towards this and calling men rapists.
Well, not just rapists, but conniving rapists.
Conniving rapists
Yeah.
at that. The love potion, though, that's a typical fantasy trope, especially children's fantasy.
Well, I don't care if it's typical, and I don't care if it's a trope. Is it sexist?
I don't think so.
How not?
Is a love potion defined for a specific gender?
Who's using it?
Well, that's not what I'm asking.
Who is the master of it? That's what I'm asking.
Okay. Now, what about...
Okay.
What
Moving
about
on.
the fact that this is said by Gilderoy Lockhart, and there's obviously complete disdain within Snape and Flitwick's persona at this time. So,
But it's true. It's not like he's making something up about them.
okay.
This is what these two professors do.
There is a potion that we will be introduced to much later. I think it's going to not only infuriate you, but cause so much great conversation. That's when we start...
You'll be the one having to deal with.
That's when we start getting into what is free will. So...
Sam Harris will have something to say about it.
I think Sam Harris will have something to say about that. So Valentine's Day, anything more about men being sexist? Because I think that might be trending at this point now, so...
Another thing along those lines, on 237, do all of the dwarves have Cockney accents?
I'd like to hope so. And as far as I can think, pretty much, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What about in the movies?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know, Dalton? This is a huge part of your life.
This is a huge part of my life, but it's not like I watch these religiously.
How many times have you seen the movies?
A couple of times.
Bullshit.
Now, the first one, I remember going out and seeing the first one a lot in theaters when I was a kid.
I'm not saying in theaters, I'm talking period. How many times have you seen
A
these
few times,
movies?
honestly. I would say, like, the last ones I've maybe seen twice.
How many times have you read the books?
3. This might be the fourth or the third read-through.
You've been through the entire series 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
Well, 2 or 3 times you've been through the entire series. I am looking to you as an expert here, Dalton.
That's dangerous because I have misquoted myself many times in these videos and been crucified for it, but carry on.
Dalton, you have a degree
Yes.
in English, and part of that degree in English was a class on Harry Potter.
Yes, carry on.
You took a class about something you loved and came away with fucking nothing.
Carry on.
So tell me something.
What do you want to know?
Things I'm asking you.
I'm answering.
You're trying to. The diary.
Yes.
This is an interesting idea, right?
Okay.
I have never seen a diary that responds to you before.
Yes.
But it does feel very much like It by Stephen King.
Okay.
Because there's the picture book that replies to you in that. And Stephen King, there's a scene where the same picture book is seen opening on its own, like the diary does, and it flutters open. I think it's the same word. And later, very reminiscent of It is the giant spider in the scary place that the elder knows about.
Okay.
So I wonder, we've talked a lot in the hot and sticky videos about having a palette of novels.
Yes.
And how what you're reading at the time that you're writing will influence what you are doing. And I wonder if that's something that's at play here. Because you've got the giant spiders, you've got the bad guy who won't be named, right? Voldemort won't be named.
Okay.
He is an It. It does not have a name until It tells you it's Pennywise.
And I think it is very realistic to say that Rowling could have read It and could have pulled from that. I mean, it's a very popular novel. She's obviously a reader. I think that is absolutely fair. Now, if I might go back to the diary. We talked a little bit last week about the concept of voyeurism and the blossoming into sexuality with the youth here. That kind of hints on those lines as well.
The diary?
The diary is being utilized by a first-year female, and the diary is responding with a much older gentleman's outlook on things. Now, the diary is a diary by purpose is supposed to be a very private matter, but now she's having input. So it would lead one to assume that there are some things going on here. It's a very creepy relationship between Tom Riddle and Ginny, in my opinion.
I didn't get that at all.
Really? Maybe it's just the concept of a diary and writing. Because what do you write in a diary besides what you don't want anyone to read?
You've got me.
We haven't got the big reveal yet, but we know it is forthcoming for Mr. Tom Riddle. What else are we feeling here? Let me look back to what I should be yelling at you for.
Yeah, I think you need to do that.
Let's talk about Hagrid being arrested. How do you feel about that? The blame is again being placed on Rubeus Hagrid, who is only defended by Dumbledore. Dumbledore the Great, Dumbledore the Wise, who apparently has the ability to see through the invisibility cloak and will address that very slyly.
I wondered about that.
Very slyly. And Hagrid's advice to follow the spiders. Hagrid is the scapegoat here. Tom Riddle was the one opening the Chamber of Secrets, and it was blamed upon Hagrid. So does that speak as the development of the character for Dumbledore, since we used to talk about how Dumbledore was just the bumbling old man, to the much more wise, the much more mature wizard?
Right.
Because he is the only one who's defended Hagrid. Until the government shows up and says, well, it is what it is, we gotta take him away, he's going to prison. He still defends Hagrid.
Well, he's even defending him then.
Yes.
He just says you've got to do what you've got to do.
Yes.
But things will play out. I think we're treading into waters that I think you're confusing things a bit.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
One thing that made me absolutely fall in love, and this is dangerous to say on the internet.
That you fell in love with Harry Potter? Go on.
But where is she going? But why is she going to the library? Because that's what Hermione does.
Fair enough.
Another thing. There's all of this chaos happening at the school, right? All of these attacks.
Yes.
They're called attacks, and the Quidditch match is canceled because of this. Now here's something interesting to think about. Is this scene where the Quidditch match is canceled, is it in the movies?
I believe so, yes.
That strikes me.
Really?
Because the movies were made largely for American consumption, right?
Okay.
Like, you knew it was going to be a big hit in America, that's where you're going to make your money off of
That's
it.
that's how Hollywood works.
Here's something interesting. That the reason why I didn't think it would be in the movie is because it's very reminiscent in this book of Columbine. The book was written and came out July 2nd, 98. The incident of Columbine happened April 20th, 99.
Okay.
So this was written pre-Columbine. The first movie came out in 2002. So the movie came out post-Columbine.
Okay.
So does this scene, is this scene colored by what happened a year later?
That's a really good point.
Because the whole time I'm reading this, attacks in a school, attacks in a school, attacks in a school, all I can think of is those kids running around with automatics.
That was your generation, though.
Yeah. I was in the 7th grade.
Are young readers going to get that same effect?
Right, but
because as a young reader standpoint, the thing that I would imagine, especially from a European standpoint of the sport, Quidditch, you don't shut down sports.
Right.
They go on. Think of the Paris attacks. That was the last straw. Once the game was over,
right,
all hell broke loose. So I think younger readers aren't going to go the Columbine route. But I think that's a really, really good point, is to bring that in, and if it may have been inspired. Now, I would like to hope that one day, eventually, someday, we're going to watch these movies and we will be able to get into this poor wording and see if you are correct on that. Because it's been a long time since I've watched this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I would like to say they shut the Quidditch match down. So we're going to see, for sure.
You know what, now that I think about it, 2002 might have been the first Harry Potter. This would have been the second Harry Potter movie, right?
Yes.
So it might have been after that. So there might have been time for the air to clear.
But still not a lot of time.
Yeah, it's just very interesting to me that, the whole time these things are going on, all I can think about is I wonder if, once I'd looked it up, I wonder if this book is written in this way today.
And this is essentially a boarding school.
Yeah.
This isn't a public school where the kids get to go home at the end of the day, everything's fine. But a school in its simplest form is meant to foster education and to keep these kids safe. Safety in schools is a huge, huge deal. So what do you do when attacks are happening and you can't protect the students? McGonagall says, we may have to shut down. We may have to close the doors and send you guys home. We don't know what to do here. The choice not to, however, I think is very important.
Right. And I think it's important to really take things into consideration with the fact, a kid was petrified.
Yes.
What is that the equivalent of in our world? Paralyzed?
Severely injured, in my opinion.
Concussed, maybe?
Maybe concussed, but the kid will be repaired.
Right. I was thinking broken legs.
Maybe so.
Okay, so imagine in your high school, in the middle of passing hour, or passing period, passing hour, Jesus, a kid gets his leg broken and no one knows what happened.
Yeah.
What happens?
I think it's almost more than that. It's once class is over, you step in the hallway and there's an unconscious child, legs broken, nobody knows what happened. In a regular setting, the school is shut down. School is done until this is figured out.
Well, you would go. Things like this happened in my high school.
Okay.
You lock in.
Yeah.
You lock the doors. Police are brought in. You figure out what you're looking for. If you're looking for drugs, then the drug dogs are pulled through.
And I think there is a little bit of that with bringing in Cornelius Fudge, if only to arrest Hagrid and take him to Azkaban.
Right.
But there are elements and airs of that concept of bringing in the authority to make sure everything's locked down and shut down. But I think the choice to keep the school open was important.
It was dangerous.
It was dangerous.
In the real world, Dumbledore would be crucified for making that call.
Was Dumbledore crucified?
Not to the extent that
Not to the extent he was, but was that a comment in here about Dumbledore's choice? Especially from, and I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, Lucius Malfoy.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Fair enough. Anything else you want to say about Harry Potter?
Not with these 3 chapters, I don't think.
Not with these 3 chapters. So we will be back with the grand finale Ultimo, part 2 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Again, the comments down below are only seen by me. So if you would like to jump a little bit and say, what about this? I'll try to slip it in subtly and we'll talk about it. But make sure you hit that subscribe button and you keep on with Adrian Reads Harry Potter, and hopefully he doesn't kill anyone midway through.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
As Cuban?
Yes.
Okay. we'll make that happen. We'll be back with The
that's the next
Prisoner
book?
of Azkaban.